juste en attente pour la traduction. We're just waiting to make sure the translation works.
Okay, can you hear me in English? Okay.
Il fonctionne, Yolande, merci.
Merci. So we're good to go.
Merci pour votre patience.
Thanks for your patience.
Je souhaite la bienvenue à notre réunion
I'm
du
welcoming
Conseil
you
municipal pour
to
le
the
Conseil
municipal
municipal
council
du
meeting
26
for
juin.
June 26th.
Premièrement, je tiens
First,
simplement à noter que nous sommes
I
réunis
would
sous la
like
modalité
to
traditionnelle
acknowledge
des
that we are
élus des
gathering on the
territoires.
unceded traditional Mi'kmaq territory. So, Mr. Clerk, do we have quorum?
Déclaration
Declaration
de conflit d'intérêt.
of interest, declaration. Any council would like to declare a conflict of interest for some items on the agenda. Very good.
Adoption de l'ordre du jour.
Approval of
Nous avons
the agenda.
un
We
point
have
ajouté
one item
qui
8.4
pas ajouté au temps
that
d'application
was not
du
added
Code
to the
des
publication.
arts et de la culture.
It's the arts and culture recommendation. So
Recommandation de la part
8.1,
du comité
it's
de
the
un certain financement à partir de
it's
l'audition.
a recommendation for the
Comme
for
ça,
the committee, like for some
ça
funding. So we need a motion to adopt the agenda as amended, moved by Councillor Jean-Claude Bertrand, seconded by Councillor Paul Boudreau.
Tous en faveur, en diront.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Against, nay. Carried.
Merci. Numéro 5, adoption des
Number
minutes du
5,
jour.
adoption of the minutes. So we have the minutes of the meeting held on June 12, 2023. So you would probably have the chance like to read it. I would need a motion.
Harry McEnroy, appuyé de Councillor Murray Lloyd. Question? Sinon, tous en
Question
faveur?
of the motion. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Against, nay. Carried. Thank you.
Au point 6,
6,
nous avons un
public presentation. We have one. We have Mr. Leo Douaron who asked us to address us. It's with the procedural bylaw. So it's 5 minutes. You're like, that's the procedural bylaw. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, council member.
Giving us another opportunity to talk of the property both sides of Riverside Drive. where the Webster Park, the Slip, and the Wharves are located. You all receive a letter from Robert Bass, QC, and the land registered on January 12, 1962, as number 243792. States clearly that the town of Shediac, that the deed of 1962 to the present, and this parcel of land has not been conveyed and remains in the name of the town of Shediac. On page 580 of the deed, it states, now the indentures further witness it, that the conveyance of the land and premises herein is for the purpose of providing the town of Shediac in perpetuity with a site on the said lot C for a public park of an area of about 1 acre, more or less, together with some measures control of the shores in the said lots A and B, particularly relevant to the park, said park, and the town of Shediac, shall ensure that the lands and premises now conveyed are not otherwise used except for the fishermen or boating activities already well established, or except for widening of Abbott Lane or Riverside Drive, or except for any purpose non-prejudicial to the park. That this park should be for the benefit and enjoyment and the relaxation of the people of the town of Shediac and of their friends. Perpetuity was a big word for me, being French. It's a noun that refers to the state of quality of lasting forever. It's a bond of utter security, no fixed maturity date. It's a restriction making an estate inalienable perpetually or for a period beyond certain limits fixed by law. The state of quality of lasting forever. Starting now with the minutes of the meeting of April 24 under section 11.1, titled Access to Waterfowl. Quote, the Chief Administration Officer states that the following: with only 5 minutes to do, I don't have time to read it all, but understand the heading in history. Second paragraph, it states, also the town has never owned a small parcel of land which includes a slip. Yes, do own it since December 29th, 1961, and registered on January 12, 1962. Paragraph 3 states, Danny Pellerin has claimed ownership. He does not own the property. The town of Shediac owns it. He only has a quick claim, which I talked about a year and a half ago, and he can't put it on land's title. This is a fact. It's not a fiction, but the town can put it on land's title today because they own it. The fifth paragraph under current situation is written that the lawyer was asked for a legal opinion on Webster Park. That should be the same document that we more or less provided to you. So why did he not find the facts about the wharf and the slip? Or was he just mandated to skip that part? Because it's on the same thing that I just read. Also, council mandated to Protection Committee on the 27th of February, 2023, to look at option 2B. But as April 24th, the committee never met. Is it because the committee don't care? Is it because they were told differently? Is it because the administration makes up all the recommendation without any discussion, question, or sometime without the true facts? Because there's a lot of discrepancy on the motion that you put up, and it was accepted by, council was told to turn the page and move on once and for all. That it did a lot of division. Yes, it did. It's still creating division. Our new CAO has been here since March, and in April already, he had recommended to reject options 2B and 2B, did not differ from what Gilles Boulot was doing, and had council mandated him to come back with other options at the May 15, 2023 meeting. And the motion was carried, but with many, many false information. And that's why if I could go through the motion, I could prove a lot of stuff that wasn't true. And reason given on that document. Our long-term citizens should not be treated the way we were. We were passed like fools in here many times. We have a lot of history here in Shediac with our neighbors in Shediac Cape, Scuda, and Point de Chine. And I can assure you all that since I remember, the wharf and the slip was used, and it goes back 80 years ago. And that was the wishes of the grantor in 1961, when Joseph Landry was the mayor of Shediac and Paul Thériault was the lawyer for the town of Shediac. The town has not kept up to their commitment. And this is the reason we want to reclaim and put the land on land's title and in good order to use as directed by the 1961 transfer that was registered on January 12, 1962. It's kind of a shame that citizens from the town have to pay for their own lawyer to prove things that I was saying a year and a half ago. I was on council in 92 and 93, and I seen this document, but I couldn't find it because everything is on chips right now. Our town manager had a conversation with our lawyer today, and he said, no matter if we, something like, no matter what, if we put it on land's title, that's not reopening. I don't think it's his comments that we should follow. You guys are the boss here. He's an employee. And I think it's about time that you open up and listen exactly to what the truth is. You know, we went by today. They took the fence away beside the big building. I never seen the park so clean. It's like dirt park. But you take from Riverside Drive where the building is, they got ropes all around, right up at half Avard Lane and right into that little parking lot that's there. And then when you go in the parking lot, this topsoil, there's a big sign for rentals. Today, at around 1 o'clock, they had a Faro truck that was going to get the garbage. He backed in, he was 3/4 in the Riverside Drive, and you're talking about security? You guys let them pass wires underneath to go from one post to the other. There must have been something done with Beaubassin because I don't think you get the right setback for a big building like that. And we had more than 400 signatures. And people still want to use that slip. You guys are saying that it costs too much money. We never asked for gold. But where you want to put it now, you got probably 1,500 feet, maybe more. How much is that really going to cost? And then you got to do a slip that's pretty high compared to where we're at.
Monsieur Eduardo, we're over 5 minutes. We're over 7 minutes, actually, but did you want any closing comments?
The closing comments are, we as citizens are very serious that we want that PID number. We want Danny's name out of the land on the quick title. We want the town of Shediac to take over the parcel of land. And if we have to, we're going to do a fundraiser and we're going to court against the town. And I want to tell you something. I know we can prove it because Victor, you might take Robert Bass as not very serious,
Eduardo,
but I'm going to tell you something.
thank you. Ah. En poursuivant avec l'agenda ce soir, au numéro 7, lecture de
Going
correspondance.
through the agenda, correspondence. We have one from Bowser's Construction. So Mr. CEO, so thank you, Mr. Mayor. Our customer is the company who was awarded the contract, like to do work on the Pleasant Street and neighboring street. So they submitted a request to the municipality to have the permission to start like 30 minutes earlier in the morning than what's allowed, like according to our bylaw for excessive noise. And of course, it's a very busy spot. So they would like to end the work like as soon as possible. So they're asking like for an extension of this bylaw to start at 6:30. At 6 o'clock, so the administration made the request to grant this permission. So, Councillor Roland, so Mr. Mayor, so be it resolved that with the bylaw 91-25, like the bylaw concerning excessive noise, that the council grant a special permission to Bowser Construction in order to allow like the work on phase 1 and 2 on the project to construction of Pleasant Street from a 6:30 AM. And this project involves like work on the street Pleasant, Central, Seamet, Elizabeth, Robido, and Beliveau, and I shall move by Councillor Cormier, seconded by Deputy Mayor Sylvie Colette. Questions on the motion? Councillor Janice Cormier Sauté. I understand the situation, but 7 o'clock, the people are on vacation, 6:30, so what? So which level, sound level do we expect? Are they full open like at 6:30? I understand we want to have it done, but the citizen will live on the street. I could ask our municipal operation director maybe to give a little bit more information. So just to add this to the contractor that submitted the report. Because usually he's here like 6:45, he's bringing all this machinery. So by the time the crew gets on site, so they will not, the work will not be started. So there will be some noise, but they could come in a little bit earlier, like to start the machine. June was rainy, so we had a lot of rain in June, so we're trying to accommodate like the contractor. And if we get any complaints, that we review the motion. Yes, if it's to make some progress. Mother Nature sometimes can collaborate. Perfect, so the motion's on the table. Moved by Roland, seconded by Councillor Sidby. All those in favor saying aye. Against nay, carried. Then we have reports from standing and special committees. The financial report is divided like in 4 or 5. I don't know if you had any question on this one, or if you want anything, if something pops in your mind, you can ask the administration. In terms of protection services, I think Constable Beliveau, Corporal Beliveau. Too many designations. Or the financial report. Councillor Peter. 2 questions, the financial report. One is concerning a translation like in the general fund. We have a budget 25,000 with 44,000. Were there any changes like at the time we made the budget with all the changes like that happened afterward? So what could we expect? Like, are they talking about $88,000? No, this budget will increase because I wasn't here like when the budget was prepared for 2023. So I don't know like what was the information that were used, but now first we had meetings that are lasting longer, and there's some additional costs for translation, but so the fact that all the documents that are shared like between the council members, they have to be in the 2 official languages. So there's a lot of our correspondence that comes in French, and now we have to translate those documents. And it's according to the act, like we have to do it. Yes, it increased like the cost, like to know how many, like of course, like 1 week to another, like 1 month to another, like the translation amount vary, like the text translation. I cannot say exactly will be the double the amount, but I mean it will cost maybe $50,000 more, because the budget for 2023 was based on the one for 2022, where the needs for translation amongst our council member like did not exist. So we receive it like only like in English or French. Like, no, now we're accommodating our new members, which is absolutely fair, and it's mandatory to do so. So to help them fulfill their duty. So it costs more. So that's additional costs were not forecasted like when we prepared the budget last fall. And this budget, the administration help to put this budget together with the province of New Brunswick. Second question concerning like special projects of the council. So I see we saw like an amount of 54,000 for the engineering for the fire station, and we only use like a 16,200 for the, was there rebate? It's not done. So the work is not finished yet. So our bills usually it's as we go. So the first column is the estimate. So the real is what was paid as of today. So yes, we will get all those invoices. I have a couple of other members, like so maybe like the lights were not. Councilor Alacombe. Mr. Mayor, for translation, out of memory, but maybe we could check. Like the provincial government announced, like I think once that the translation, like the provincial government would pay for the translation. So maybe it's something we should look into. I think they made an announcement. Maybe we could get back like part of the cost on this issue. I can tell you what we know. There were like an amount that was transferred like to the Association Francophone Municipalité du Nouveau-Brunswick and all the municipalities that had the additional translation costs. And we submitted what we had. I think it was for the first 3 months of the year, from January to March. And I would have to check, like if we had the payment, there's a mechanism in place. We can recuperate like part of the cost. It will certainly not be like the whole cost. I don't think it will be sufficient like to cover all the deficit, but it should help a bit. Councilor Patricia Bourque-Chaval is concerning like the expenses for the mayor and council. So I see there's a global amount. I know it's difficult, but we do not have like a finance director. If we could get like the other years for all the expenses that were claimed, because I have some expenses under my name, but I don't recall. Yes, maybe if you look at the details are there, but since we transferred we had asked like to transfer the 17,000 for the account for mayors and councilors. If you look at the report on expenses, you'll see like all the councilors are there. So with the actual amount, that's what I was looking like. Was Patricia Bourque-Chaval attended the meeting? Oh, you mean to get like the details? Yeah, it was done like in a separate report. We still have like to be available. For each of the councilors, so it was still some information. So thank you. So, Corporal Beliveau, I hope you're doing well. Yes, thank you. So just an update, like for the RCMP, like since the last meeting on May 29th, from April 1st to May 29, 277 like contravention, 224 warning from May 29 up to today, 52 like infractions and tickets and 51 warnings. So open files into from April to May, 1,082 open files, and the complaint that for ATVs, 5, 3 complaints on the road, and 2 complaints from collision with ATV. And there were 2 like in the last week that happened. So with the 2 collision, so they were under 16-year-old and they were not wearing an helmet. There were some harm, like, and they were quite serious. So those are 2 files, like they're still under investigation, and some charges will be laid if there is an evidence of any infraction. Like, we really want to send like a message to the parents. As I said, like since January 1st up to today, 47 complaints like for ATV vehicles, and 8 that were collision with harm. And the last couple of weeks we were used like without any supervision. So really, like the vigilance of the parents is important to ensure like the safety of the people, the drivers, and the youth. So why do we have like youth on the road with ATV? Are the parents aware like where they are with their ATVs? And once again, like do the parents know like they're not wearing any helmets or not even the seat belt? So we need help from the citizen, like to identify the person responsible, like either youth or adults. So the requirements we have, like for the ATV. So the drivers for ATVs under 16, they have to follow like a safety course, and the ATV have to be plated and also like insured, and the drivers under 16, they have to follow like the approved safety course and be under the supervision of an individual like age 19 years old and older. So in the case of the 2 accidents we had, there's more details of the size. There's no of the size of the machine or the vehicle or the motor, or so the ages from 6 to
For 6 to 11, ATVs of 70 cc's. The dirt bikes, it's 120 cc's. It starts to go up a bit from 12 to 13. It's 90 cc's, 150 for motorbikes, for dirt bikes, and 14, 15, it's a maximum of 90 cc's. And for bikes, it's 230 cc's. So in both collisions that we had, the 2 vehicles, the 2 ATVs, they were 1,000 cc vehicles. So much more powerful than they were allowed to drive. So to conclude, in conclusion, it is the responsibility of the parents, in large part. Where are the keys to this vehicle? There are strict regulations in terms of how the young people use it. What are the parents doing to ensure the safety of their children and the people around? On our end, it's the last thing we want to see. We don't want to go to a fatal collision with an off-road vehicle with young people. It's not at all fun for us. We really want to make sure that everyone follows the regulations, and that the RCMP does the proper takes the proper measures to make sure that the message is clear, loud and clear. It is. Thank you. It is sure that I'm sure that everyone around the table shares your point of view. It's good to have fun when you're young, but safely, please. Yes, indeed. It's so unfortunate for those accidents. Thank you very much. A few questions. Councillor Paul Boudreau. So for ATVs, I asked the staff. One of the things they told me in terms of translation, you have to go closer to the mic. You have to bring it closer to your mic, to your mouth. So for ATVs and access to our trails, the barricades are lovely and well painted, but they don't seem to be effective in sort of stopping ATVs on our trails. In Sackville and Veta Sebastien as well. It's wide enough. I know if a side by side could pass. Luc could say, but and the normal ATV, it doesn't seem like any problem to go between the barricades. I would say that these barricades aren't worth a whole bunch. Is there a way to prevent access to ATVs to our trails? Maybe staff could determine what might be a good solution, so that they're obligated to follow the path that the town determined. Can we have a motion to examine this? These barricades are not at all doing it, because the ATVs can just sneak right on. On our side, on our end, people go through the barricades. They're not necessarily those that will listen to rules, whether the barricade is there or not. We receive enough complaints related to ATVs that they're just going all throughout the road. And they're not necessarily people who will stop when we turn on the lights. I understand. Thank you. Thought there was a second question, but no. Great. Have a good evening. Thank you very much. Next point, fire service. 2 weeks ago, the fire chief gave his report with the figures. In terms of building permit reports, they were presented last time, once a month. It was done at the previous meeting. And in terms of the Arts and Culture Committee report, does the CAO want to offer some explanations here? Yes, thank you, Your Worship. From the members of the committee did not have much chance to discuss it. It was done by email, but we received a request after having allocated the funds in terms of our cultural policy. But there was some money left over in the budget. We received a request from CAFI. It's the Francophone Immigration Support Group for the Southeastern New Brunswick, for a series of 3 different activities, actually, that they're seeking to do over the next year. And they made a request to receive a contribution from the town via our cultural policy. So you have the letter in English and in French. There was financial support for an activity that they're doing during the Lobster Festival. They're looking to gather lots of newcomers so that they can participate in different activities related to the festival. And I think that in this case, this is money mostly for travel. They'll need some assistance. Also other elements, you'll see them on the list. There's also assistance to rent spaces. They're looking for a permanent space in Shediac, but it's hard to find this. So they have to rent premises each time they organize an activity or a meeting. They're looking for help for that. And the third part, they want to reprint their newcomers guide. It's been a few years that the guide hasn't been updated. They want to update it. They want to publish it again. And those 3 projects altogether, well, this is a total value of about $8,200. And they're looking for a contribution of $5,500 from the municipality. And with money left over in the budget. So the members of the committee, of the Arts and Culture Committee, it was through some email exchanges. They did accept to that they recommend that this contribution be sent to council for your consideration. Thank you, Councillor Sylvie. So be it resolved that the council accept the recommendation of the Arts and Culture Committee to grant $5,500 to CAFI related to the municipality's cultural policy, and that these monies come from 1-2760 cultural policy. I so move. Proposed by Deputy Mayor Sylvie Colette Boudreau, seconded by Councillor Janice Cormier. Any questions on the motion? Councillor Patricia Bourque-Chevalier. Thank you, Your Worship. It was in the section where it puts financial support, $1,500. The two items helping the hiring of staff for presenting a show and for organizing activities for children. Is that as part of the festival, or I see that there's the travel. I understood the three activities that you see there. Makes it for a total of 1,500, and it was all related to the festival. The two other items are separate. Rental of premises, that's separate, and printing the guide is separate. We didn't hear about that the festival committee that they made a request. That we know that there's a coffee activity during the festival, but we didn't know about that. I just was wondering if it was part of the activity. Thank you. Maybe because they weren't asking the festival met, or the festival wasn't aware. Councillor Emile O'Brien, thank you, Your Worship. Is this money that we give every year, or it's once everyone's in the blue moon, or the cultural policy is an amount that's put in the budget each year, and various organizations from the community can apply for grants. So from one year to the next, it can vary. 2 meetings ago, we allocated most of the budget. This request came Friday afternoon, so it missed the cutoff, the deadline for the program. But given that there was still some money in the budget, we thought it would be wise to share it with the committee, and the committee recommended it. It may well be that next year there won't be any, or not. It depends on the applications that we receive from one year to the next. Who is on the Arts and Culture Committee? It's Councillor Sylvie, Jean-Claude, and Germaine. Thank you. That's great. Thank you. So, with that being said, we have a motion on the table. All those in favor say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. Thank you. Number 9. CAO's report. Well, you've all had a copy of the report. The last week was pretty busy preparing this meeting ahead of the summer holidays. We're still working, as you know, to fill the various vacancies within the administration. We're getting ready for the summer, and the administration team is very busy. There's the arrival of new employees. It's really hopping in the office. Still lots of activities going on in terms of the Regional Service Commission, because the commission is undertaking many new tasks. This requires lots of meetings for the region. But beyond that, if there are any specific questions, I might attract your attention to one item. Since it's tomorrow at 3 p.m., it's the official opening of Homaris. You should have received. I was invited to participate. I'm ready to answer your questions if you have any. Councillor Roland Cormier. Thank you, Your Worship. We see on the report that there was an interview of some sort, preliminary interview for the head of finance, and they're telling us that a selection committee has been formed, and there'll soon be interviews. On the 10th of June, have we that interview for the applicants yet, or do we intend to do it during the summer? The 2 preliminary interviews have taken place. They took place on Saturday, June 10th, and the decision was to invite the two candidates to come meet the selection committee. Here's the problem. One of the applicants had planned a trip abroad, so we're simply waiting that trip be done, not so as to not have to call the committee twice, so that the selection committee can do the interview during the same meeting. Is the timeline July? Oh yes, for sure, as soon as possible. I think that the applicant is coming back on July 4th. Perfect. Great. Councillor Emile O'Brien. You on the council, please get closer to the mic. It helps for the translators. Inaudible. Sorry. Is there something in the CAO report? Okay, that's great. So, recommendation from the Southeast Regional Service Committee. Nothing set aside for today. In terms of unfinished business, 11.1, hiring of a consultant for Remain 2024. Main Street 2024. So, I would ask our Director of Municipal Operations to give a little summary of what's of this. No problem. So it's the reconstruction that which continues of Main Street, 2024. It's the to Chesley. Objective here is to hire an engineering firm to proceed to the design phase, so that in September, when we're preparing 2024 budgets, we have solid numbers that have been well established by that consultant. So the timing is to do the preliminary work this summer until the start of the fall, and be able to continue and be in a position to go to tender and have the work done for 2024, to do the work in 2024. Councillor Paul Boudreau, thank you. It's a great initiative. I saw the details of the engineer's submission. How long do you expect these works to take? Like ballpark? The works are foreseen. It's like the full construction season, as early as possible in May 2024 up to November probably. My question is, given that we're in advance and that the plans would be ready, the call for tenders, we hope for January 24. Can't we start building at the end of March? April, May, June, with 4 months before the season, instead of being stuck in full-on tourist season with Main Street. I don't know what you're planning for detours. This is an option we'll explore with the consultant we're working with. This is not established yet. We don't know the dates and the scope of the work and the scheduling. If we can start earlier, we will. It will depend. Can't we require it? When we ask for call for tenders, and can't we require, say, that work has to start, let's say, March 22nd, like a date like that? Can't we put it in the details of the contract? Then we can answer citizens. It will start, and there's always things you can't plan for, but can we add that to the call for tenders? The dates are always indicated in the contracts. It's just normally we don't start until trucking is open on the road with the heavy trucks. That's a factor. Otherwise, there's just partial loads, and some pieces of equipment can't even be brought to the site because they go beyond the load that's allowed on the road. It's also something that the engineering consultant might suggest. We can ask the question, but they have the experience related to these large-scale works. As early as we can, but And I would like to add something. Next year, we know it's a big year for the festival, and we're looking at ideas for planning Inaudible. Thank you. Any other questions? Oh, Councillor Janice Cormier. Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Same thing. I think next year it's really important that we stop construction for 2 or 3 weeks, 4 weeks at least, because our businesses in the downtown have already felt a great impact. It's when they, in the summers when they make most of their money. It's the 75th anniversary of the festival next summer. If we're going to receive a lot of tourists, our roads have to be better. I think if the council can make a motion to recommend that when we send out the contracts, that there'd be a break in construction for a few weeks from one certain date to a certain date. And if it costs a little more, well, I think that's the question, isn't it? How much more expensive? But this is something that we can receive as information. When we did the downtown in 2017, we stopped construction for a month. A month of July, the whole of July. It added to the cost also. It was something that the council could establish how much it represented, and if it was within our means. I think it would be good for the council to make a decision on that. But the bid will also come in. It will be part of the submission of the tender. The call for tenders will have specific dates, right? Yes. On all of those discussions, at this point, it doesn't have any bearing on the hiring of this consultant. It's a good thing to raise. We always have to be careful of all of our, take care of all of our citizens. We had done a part of the road. I think, Councilor Peter Bro, I think I know the answer. From Foch to Riverside, there's no exit. I would say that in the estimate, it would be marked that the Inaudible, we're not going to close it completely. No, we're not closing the bridge. There won't be restrictions like you had the last time. Thank you. Madam Deputy Mayor, thank you, Your Worship. I was looking at the letter we received from DDI, Infrastructure and Transportation, 22nd March 2022. They give themselves a maximum. We know that prices have gone up. They assign a maximum of $1,028,000 plus HST. So we would have to absorb if the contract were higher. In the proposal letter of the consultant, he said that there's a bit accepted. It's like 3.5. The proposed fee of, no, I don't have the right thing in front of me here. It's just that based on what we just heard, we would need estimates before the budgets to be able to set aside some money for that. But in addition, the prices could go up at the start of 2024. The entrepreneurs don't want to lose money as either. As we've seen, the things we've seen, we've never seen this before, where cost is can triple in a year. But these are estimates. There's an estimate at the end of the proposal letter that was written. That consultant did works for us, preliminary works to come to that. He established preliminary design, a very preliminary estimate. As we go forward and we get closer and with a more fine-tuned number, it's just an estimate. The real figure, we'll see it when we go for the call for tenders. I appreciate this. Thank you very much. The province of New Brunswick will contribute $1 million, and the Greater Shediac Sewage Committee is contributing $500,000 or so. We at least have partners helping us on that front. It's appreciated. Thank you. Councilor Murray Lloyd.
I respect my fellow councilor's opinion on the delay of this project in midsummer. Let's look at the contractor. He's going full season to do this job. And we're gonna take the middle of the summer away from him, that he can't do his work. I think you're asking for trouble. I don't think it's gonna be accepted. And I think if it is accepted, the cost you're gonna pay will be exorbitant.
Yeah.
I think we should seriously think about this and maybe come to another resolution on how we can make the work area work better than we did last time. I don't see us stopping for 3, 4 weeks. It's just impossible. You will not get this from the construction industry. They're gonna say, thank you very much, but
They'll shy away from bidding.
very much so.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
And then, that's a question asked to the town consultant that we're looking to hire in terms of what would be the impacts? And at least they'll be able to explain to us in terms of, okay, what's the good,
Just-
what's the bad?
Just reflecting my views.
Very good. All right. Thank you. So in terms of questions, none? Think you were reading that?
I am. To be resolved to award the engineering work for the reconstruction of Main Street from Fosh Bridge to Chesley Street to Englobe Corp. At the value of $398,419.45 net, HST included. The Greater Shediac Sewage Commission will be responsible to reimburse the town for 14% of this fee. The design phase service with the value of $180,101.92 net HST included will be drawn from the General Capital Reserve Fund. The remaining amount will be drawn from the project construction funding source.
So moved by Councillor Murray Lloyd, seconded by Councillor Jean-Claude Bertin. Autre question, sinon tous en faveur, en diront oui.
All those in favor say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. It's works on Main Street. It's so essential. We also have to realign Main Street with the intersection with Riverside, and also the rebuilding of the Dock Street. It's to bring a pipe to the pump. These are going to be good investments. Councillor Harry McEnroy has a motion he wanted to bring forward to hire a city planner. Councillor McElroy. Merci.
The motion, and when it's seconded, I'd like to briefly comment.
Perfect.
Whereas the town of Shediac's Municipal Development Plan, MDP, was adopted in 2012 and last reviewed in 2017, and whereas in the interim, the town has grown considerably due to both amalgamation and an accelerated rate of development, and whereas the planning services of the Southeast Regional Service Commission are responsible for MDP reviews and other planning matters for several newly amalgamated municipalities, and as a result, cannot commit to completing a town of Shediac MDP full review within the next 12 to 24 months. Therefore, be it resolved that council directs staff to investigate the engagement of the services of an urban planner on a consultant contract basis as a means to expedite the MDP review process in a more timely manner, and that staff report to council on their findings in September 2023.
So moved by Councillor Harry McEnroy, seconded by Councillor Murray Lloyd.
Stated 12 to 14 months, 24 months. I believe it's 14 months. I think your statement was 12 to 24 months.
Yeah, I said, when you read,
Oh,
you said
sorry.
24,
Oh,
but
sorry. Thank you.
It's written 14. so
Okay, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
second the motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just
Go ahead.
briefly, Your Worship, I think most of us around the table have seen examples of where we're behind in terms of planning the development of the town. And I know that the can't speak for all of the areas, but certainly Pointe de Chine, folks have said to me, you know, when are we gonna feel like we're kind of included in what's happening within the town?
Mhm.
Not everything is gonna apply uniformly everywhere, but to get this started, I think sends a positive message to all the residents of the new town of Shediac that we're seriously taking a look at now, rather than defer until later the planning of the town as things unfold in the months ahead. And of course, this gives staff an opportunity over the next few months to look into what options might be available in terms of the consulting and contracting of the urban planner service, so that we'll be in a position maybe in September to receive some recommendation on that front. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you, Councillor McEwen. We've discussed this a few times, and there's interest amongst the council, there's interest amongst the community in terms of, okay, can we look at this, or there's a need for that? Conseiller Roland Collier.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Maire.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I've been fully in agreement with the motion, and I will certainly support it. The only thing I might say about the resolution, right now, we're buying services from 360. As it stands right now, I would dare say, and I might be wrong, please correct me if I'm wrong. I do presume, though, that the services that we're paying for from 360 is part of what we're asking for the administration to perhaps go another way. According to you, Your Worship, we feel like we're on the list for 2025 or 2026, which is completely unacceptable on the part of 360. I understand that everyone's busy, but certainly a part of that billing, that invoicing, I think that it should be applied to 360. Or where the bill that we receive on an annual basis, I think there should be a bit of some considerable rebate, because we're going to be doing work that, in my estimation, it just should be done by 360. We're paying twice for the same service.
We pay twice for the same
Different
service,
partners,
different
but
partners. And I'm leaving it in your very capable hands, and you, Mr. Mayor, and the CEO to make an agreement with the 360. And I'm hoping like in September, you will come back with more information. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councillor. No, don't quote me. I'm going out of memory. Out of memory, well, so the invoice for the plan 360, it's based on the tax base of the municipality, and also like the population that's involved, and it's similar like to the invoice we get for the RCMP. So the bigger the municipality, the more you will pay, regardless of the services you use, because the review, something like the plan, the 360, if I remember well, like the fund, they do not do it like every 4 or 5 years. It's every 10 years. So it's part of the service. It's not something if we got more requests for building permits, then the neighboring municipalities will not pay twice as much for the services, but we pay according to the tax base of the municipality. So that's what it established like the population, and all the municipalities participating, essentially like everyone in the region, like Moncton, they're built accordingly. So these become invoices that are affordable for the municipality. Like this, if you're smaller, well, the invoice will be less. That's what I can give you as an information. So indeed, we will have a good argument, because the last plan was done in 2012, and we're in 2023. So according to my math, it's 11 years. So they did a review in 2016, was more. But the point I would like to make, Mr. Mayor, we want the service. we're receiving the service, not this one. You inform us over the last maybe 6 months I've been here that we are on the list for 2024 or 2025, 2026, which is totally unacceptable for many council members, maybe all the council members. I will let the other person, council member to talk. If we want like some service for 316, we cannot get it. And we're supposed to get like professionals elsewhere. I think, in my opinion, we should have a serious discussion with 360 to know if we have the opportunity to have that they will pay maybe a deal that will be pay half of it, or I don't think we can't let them do. With all the respect I have for the organization, I understand like your comment. So
Councillor McEnroy has a motion on the floor. All those in favor, say aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion carried. Merci beaucoup.
thank you very much. 13, inquiries by members of council. So any council member would have question, some items that were not on the agenda. Councillor Janice Cormier, thank you. The question is more for Bob. So I got a few people who mentioned that since the construction of West Main Street ended, there's a lot of like some water pooling done. Did you get any information, complaints on this? No, we did not get any information on this one. Even because I drove when it was raining, there's a few spots, like especially outside of the drive, there's some pooling done. It might be, I think it will be dangerous this winter, like for ice. We will have the ideal time this week, like to check this out. We'll see if there's something. I know some areas they were not done yet with the paving. Yeah, if we could maybe just check to make sure. Councillor Jean-Claude Bertin, thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's for the CEO. 107 McQueen for the gazebo shed or whatever he wants to build, like on the town. I think 2 months ago, like we discussed it. We brought a resolution, and they were supposed to bring us back some information. It's still on my list, my to-do list. I did not have the chance to do everything. I know I asked a question to a Plan 360 and they came back and I didn't have the chance to do a follow-up on this one. I will add it on my list. So once it's done, like Councillor Emile O'Brien, thank you. It's in my question, I forgot. It came back. It's a position for the finance directors, the selection committee in place. Yes, the selection committee is in place. We already did like an interview, but that applicant was not retained. It was myself, the CEO, and Councillor Patricia. And Nicole Rio, she's a former finance director of a municipality in Dieppe. And we will have our recruiter. I was curious. I just wanted to know. The committee is not done with their work yet. Mrs. Deputy Mayor, Sylvie Colette, maybe I should bring it like to the Committee of Protection Services and then not answer question like, would it be possible like to have like a quick presentation or something that would come out in the social media, like the regulations, like for to drive like bicycles and stuff like that. I'm one of those, and not just as a refresher, because more and more we have this And there's also like the speed is one thing, but it's not to be like a police, it's to promote safety, like on bicycle, like maybe like all like the legislation, like for road legislation, because I don't remember, like it's been a lot. I'm too old for this, like since I was in elementary school, maybe I have a refresher to educate ourselves, like if it was that. So now we have like a communication, like to do something about it, like to have like the good practices. Yeah, thank you.
Councilor Mary Lloyd.
Councilor Lloyd.
Mayor, this is not an inquiry. I would just like to comment on West Main, the markings on the street of West Main.
Yes,
I think it's fantastic. I see now that we've got green and white, we've got yellow, we've got white. I don't know who was responsible, whether it was here or it was the contractor, but it was excellent. That guy was there. You
Yeah.
won't let me finish.
I noticed that the white paint was down as
White
well as
paint, yeah.
green paint
Ye-
when the bike
yellow
lane
was a-
crosses a
Yellow was a
street.
little crooked at times, but I think the total presentation is excellent. And I've had a few comments from people who use that route, that it is nice and bright and very, very positive.
Good.
Not bad accident there today. Right in front of.
Yes, in
So,
front of the gym around there, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Conseillère Patricia Bourg-Chevalier.
Merci, Monsieur le maire. Je ne sais pas si je peux apporter ça.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't know if I should bring it here. It's not really like a request for inquire for information. So I told them like I would bring it to recommendation, like following the presentation. I think if someone like gave us like a line to know would be like to see if it belongs to the town. I'm not saying like to open like the slip. I think it's our. I think we it's our duty to make to ensure like that the piece of land belongs to us. I will bring it. Should I bring a motion to the next board meeting? I know we have to bring our motions and then that's what we're asking. So I will bring it to the next meeting. Thank you. Councillor Paul Boudreau. For the water access file, like, do we have the option that that was recommended? Do we have any details on that, or we're still waiting for some information? So I promise, as soon as we get some details, we'll be the first one to know. Like, we still have. We're still waiting for an answer from the department. We also we try like to make your life easier. We had our engineers prepare like a quick plan to see like what we are asking is feasible and safe. It's something that was brought to our the department, so we're still waiting like for some answers. Are there any costs associated with this, like to develop this option? The only cost, I don't think that we got a bill yet, but it's for that report we prepare, like just to show like the department could be that. And I ask also for a specific deadline for us, like for you, the administration, like is it coming or is it September 15th, or do not have an answer from the province, we go to another option? Could we at least have a date? Because if it doesn't go forward, well, we'll see, like, and then we can debate it around the table. So just to know, because when it was presented, it was May 15th. A report was supposed to be submitted to the council, and we're not meeting until the end of August after like this evening's meeting. Just to clarify, like something, it's positive. We did not get any favorable or unfavorable answer, so we will have it. We will get an answer at some point, but it's just a question like to add. Yes, it will come back. Like once we're able to go forward, we'll be able to go forward at least with this option. So introduction and reading of bylaws, nothing, no one to adopt this evening. Motions and resolution. So the first is a designation of an employee responsible of the Right to Information and Protection Privacy Act. Councilor Sidney, whereas pursuant to section 48.14 of the Right to Information and Protection of Privacy Act, every public body shall designate a person or group of persons responsible for the administration of this act. Whereas the town of Shediac is a local public body under the Right to Information and Protection of Privacy Act. Therefore be it resolved that the council of town of Shediac designate the town clerk as a person responsible for the application to the right of the Right to Information and Protection of Privacy Act. I shall move, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Deputy Mayor, seconded by Councilor Germaine Galland. Questions on the motion? Just to give a few tasks, additional tasks to town clerk. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Against nay? Motion carried. Thank you. 15.2. Crosswalk guard for MFB school. First, I would like to mention there is a mistake for 2023 to 2024. I presume like someone would correct it. Be it resolved that we retain the service of Mr. Maurice Boudreau as school cross guard for the 2023-2024 school year, that the mayor and clerk be authorized to sign the agreement, and that the remuneration for the service be set as $1,000 per month from September to December 2023, and $1,050 per month from January to June 2024. I shall move. Moved by Councilor Joël Debré, seconded by Nicolas Boudreau. Questions on the motion? Had mentioned that is the same across what guard. Councilor, I think like the cross the crossing guard does a very important work. So and I think it's the same. We had at least my arrival to the council in 2012 was already there. I think it plays like an important role, like protect for those regions. I would like to modify like the motion. $1,200 for the 10 months, like $12,000, $1,200 a month, like from September to June, and then 1,250 January to June. We could do it like this, but I think it would be good, like because it protects the children in it. So I move like the modification. Councilor Emily Bryan moves to modify the motion to those numbers, like $1,200 from September 22nd, 2023, and 1,250 from January to June 2024. So first, I don't know, Mr. Executive, the CEO, if you know the answer. I know like his salary is increased like every year by a certain amount. So what we could see, like we're not able like to track some information. Last year, I think he had like there was an increase like a little bit bigger than 2 or 3%. And this year, well, the recommendation was to go for 1,000 to 1,050. It was like a 5% increase. We thought it was fair, like according to what we pay to others. But once again, like it's up to the council to decide. But it's something that is being renewed every year. So there was no guide or contract like it would increase like from. So I have a motion to modify this one. So anyone who would like to second the amendment to that motion? So Councillor Paul Boudreau, we will vote on the amendment and then we'll vote on the initial motion to give the questions on the amendment. Councillor Harry.
Thanks, Your Worship. Seems to me it would be a more, I guess, formal or business approach to take to have a recommendation from staff in September as to what the salaries should be for crosswalk guards. You have crosswalk guards in other locations. So I'm not, well, personally, I don't believe we should cherry pick, to change the salary in this particular case. Perhaps maybe it's time, to look with due deference to look at the compensation package overall. I would support that, but I can't support just the motion to amend this one specific one. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Harry. Thank you, Councillor. Monsieur Desjardins?
Well, just for clarification, we actually only have the one, so it's the only one that we do pay for. So I just wanted to clarify that point for the council.
Somebody else pays for the others, do they, or are there no?
There are no others in
There are
town.
no others.
Oh, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Within our limits,
Okay,
there's just that one.
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Councillor Janice Cormier?
Merci.
Janice Cormier, thank you. I'm in the same opinion like last year, we did the same also, Councillor Ryan, increase the salary of the school cross guard, they were accepted it. For now, I'm not comfortable to increase it, the salary just like that. I think we should look at the percentage, what's being recommended, but we should look maybe other a crosswalk guard in other regions like the Moncton or to see to look how much they're paid and to see if there's a difference. But unfortunately, I will not support this motion to add $1,200 because we already put 5%. So this is my opinion. Thank you.
Councillor Mary Lloyd?
We have more than one school in our region now.
Yes.
Should we not look at a program if we have a cross guard program here? Should we not have a program for all the schools?
Good.
I don't see
under
why,
the
I
under
don't
the
see why one school should be looked after while others should not be.
yeah. Prior to amalgamation, well, we only had 2 schools in town, 1 elementary, 1 high school.
But the elementary is
And-
not, is that where the cross guard is?
Yes,
So it's not at the high school.
no,
Should we look at a program
but we have a,
for the complete city?
and that's something that I believe the Protection Committee was going to be looking at, that had been raised, some of the parents from the Monsignor Francois Bourgeois School had written, a while back and asking for additional crosswalk guards at other intersections that are near the school in a sense. At a few other locations, 3 other locations. So they were looking for essentially, can you add 3 more to the existing one that you have? And we haven't, that wasn't planned in the 2023 budget, that thing. So in that regards, so it wasn't there yet, but it hasn't been considered by or discussed much at the Protection Committee in order to bring back to council. So not as of yet, but now with amalgamation, we have a school in Shediac Cape now. That's still there, and there's a crosswalk there and with the buttons and then whatnot, but one might be needed there as well. So, but we haven't looked at that obviously yet.
Should we look at, should administration look at that over the summer? Or should we bypass this for a year?
I think the administration can certainly look at that over the course of a summer and come back to us with if there's a need, they can talk with the school in particular. Is there a need there? Is there not a need? Whatnot in terms of determining that. We know it's school ages are the same, kindergarten to grade 8. So
I'm not trying to be negative towards
No.
Councilor O'Brien's proposition here, but I think if we do for one, we should do it for all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Conseiller Relais-Commis.
Merci, Monsieur le maire.
Yes, thank you. Just a point of clarification. Some councillors say, seems to, I just want to be clear in my mind. Maybe we should look in other municipalities, like how these individuals are paid. Does it mean if they paid the $3,000 a month, we will increase, like we will go like for 1,000 to 3,000 if we get check and it's higher. We want to compare, like I don't know. I have no idea like how much they're paid. I'm just asking the question. It's what we do. Maybe we could use it like a reference point. Maybe we're giving him a good salary, maybe not. Councillor Janice Comey. So I'm asking that we vote on the amendment to increase like the salary. We'll have to vote accordingly, either with the new number or the old number. So the amendment is to increase to $1,000 from September to December 2023, and 1,250 from January to June 2024. No, it was 1,200 like before Christmas and 1,250 after Christmas. Give the wrong number. So for the amendment, all those in favor saying aye. Against nay. Okay. No. So the motion, so the amendment has been defeated. Initial motion. From 1,000 and 1,050. All those in favor saying aye. Councillor Janice Cormier. So I would like to move that we table the motion until the end of August, so the administration could do a little bit of research to see if we want to add like a cross, like a guard that should get Cape. See the cost. I think there's no rush. I could wait at the end, then do it right away. I see there's a lot of questions. Like it's not a big amount, but I would like to table the motion so the administration could do a little bit more research with the security committee. So if you want to add one, maybe to Shediac school and come back with more information. So on the motion to table, so it's done like without any debate. I just need a seconder. That's it. Councillor Relais-Commis seconds to table the motion. So we're voting what to table the motion. That's it. If not, we continue. All those in favor saying aye. Against nay. Carry. It's been tabled until the next meeting. Thank you. So Councillor Peter. So your intervention, yeah. So Councillor Patricia. Notify Mr. Boudreau. We can still retain his services. We already did in the June, so maybe just notify this. Like we have like a yes, what we decided this evening. Thank you. 15.3. A bank resolution, banking motion. Councillor Peter Bourgo. Whereas Shediac Town Council must designate individuals with the authority to sign checks and other banking documents in the name of and on behalf of the town of Shediac. Whereas following the appointment of Sylvie Colette Boudreau as Deputy Mayor, effective May 29, 2023, it is necessary to make changes to the signatories for the municipality of Shediac. Therefore, be resolved that Mayor Roger Casey, Deputy Mayor Sylvie Colette Boudreau, Chief Administrative Officer Victor Boudreau and Yves Cormier, Assistant to the Director of Finance, be authorized to sign checks and other banking documents in the name and on behalf of the town of Shediac. I shall move. Moved by Councillor Peter Boudreau, seconded by Councillor Joël Desprez. All those in favor signify by saying aye, against nay. Carried. 15.4, nomination of a bylaw officer. Councillor Emilio Bourbois. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Whereas under section 72 of the Local Governance Act, the council may appoint bylaw enforcement officer for the local government and may determine their term of office. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Shediac proceed with the appointment of Mr. Claude Maillet as bylaw enforcement officer effective February 7, 2023. I shall move. Moved by Councillor Emilio Brian, second Councillor Germaine Galland. Mr. Director, could you just give an explanation? I did not do explanation, so it was hired as it was hired like as February 7th, so to see, it was not like appointed officially. So we will move that there is like a pending. And the authority like to enforce various bylaws, so it has to be enforced by the council. Councillor Roland Cormier. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It means that
So that means it wasn't done? So if Mr. Claude Maillet gave out fines or infractions since that 7th of February, I would dare say that those infractions are illegal and we have to give them back. Since given these new to his position, he was only giving out warnings. He hasn't set out any fines yet. It's the the method to dissuade dissuading people. Councillor Jean-Claude Bertin, thank you. So you're speaking of infractions. Cars are parked where they're not supposed to be. Can you offer infractions? I think he could now, but he couldn't before. There was a year before, there was a lady who said you couldn't have fines. Well, we can certainly check in terms of the law, see what's allowed, not allowed, but certainly without this appointment by the council, it was certainly not possible. Just a nice guy reminding people what to do.
This is a little difficult because Mr. Maillet has a job, and in certain parts of our town, he doesn't have the same enforcement because it's still controlled by the LSD, such as unsightly premises, and there are some others. Can we get a clarification what he is responsible for?
What he can and can't do.
Thank you. It's a little difficult when somebody's on the other end of the phone and you say, I'm sorry, but you better call your MLA. With us in the LSD areas, he doesn't cover.
Again, get closer to the mic, Councillor Lloyd.
I'm sorry. In the LSDs, he doesn't cover everything that he does in the town. And it is a little difficult because I don't know.
Yeah.
And
We can certainly seek a clarification
That's all I'm
and
asking.
bring that information to council. I think it would be worth just knowing the nuts and bolts.
I leave that to administration. Thank you.
Thank you. Donc, sur la proposition.
So, on the motion, all those in favor say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carried. It's a good thing we carried it, or he would be out of a job. 15.5, meeting cancellations. Councillor Germaine Galland. Please go to the mic. Thank you, Your Worship. Be it resolved the plenary meeting scheduled on July 3rd and August 7th, 2023, as well as regular meetings scheduled on July 17th, July 31st, and August 14th, 2023 be canceled due to elected officials and staff taking vacation time. A special meeting may be called as required. I so move. Moved by Councillor Germain Galland, seconded by Deputy Mayor Sylvie Colette Boudreau. Any questions? Councillor Roland Cormier. I don't have any problem with this. It's just a question of interpretation. An extraordinary special meeting could be convened if required. Of course, it's their worship that will call it with consultation with the clerk and the CAO. Is there a sort of delay usually? There's a prescribed, I can't call it for tomorrow afternoon. So there's like a period of 3 or 4 days. I think it's up to 48 hours later that you can call it for. It's mostly for a resolution that can't wait to the end of August. A contract, for example, something like that. So all those in favor, say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. 15.6, purchase of land for a sidewalk project. Councillor Patricia Brooke Chevalier, thank you, Your Worship. New sidewalk on Webster Street. Be it resolved that the town purchase a portion of the land parcel with PID 01044338 from the owner for $12,000 and a portion of the land parcel with PID 01044577 from the owner for $15,000 to allow the construction of a new sidewalk on Webster Street from Chesley Street to LeBlanc Street. Land survey and legal services will also be procured by the town. The funds will be drawn from the following account: 28291 New Sidewalks 10-year plan. I so move, Your Worship. Moved by Brooke Chevalier, seconded by Paul Boudreau. Mr. McEwen, can you, I take it for granted that we had to buy the land that the sidewalk will be on. Yes, I can give you a bit of info. There was design provided for this item. We need about, we need to expand our access route on Webster by about 2 to 3 meters on the land between Wesley and the two landowners were approached, and they're fine with it. We made agreements with them. It's not official for the moment. They're sort of handshake deals, let's say. We're seeking approval to continue on that process to acquire the land through land survey and legal services. Thank you very much. Any questions from the council members? Otherwise, all those in favor say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. 15.7, granting award of contract for multi-port sports surface. This was after our information session. Mr. McEwen, were you going to inform us about this topic? Yes, or you can pass it on to CAO if you'd like. Well, I'll give you a status update. It was voted by council, I believe in March or so. I can't remember the exact date. The option to rebuild. At the time, we received a budget from the Englobe consultants. It was a value of $600,000, which would include engineering and the works. So based on that, we finished the design with Englobe, and we went to call for tenders. Call for tenders closed on the 20th, 6 days ago. Thank you. We had a bit of chance to do some analysis, and the results came back a bit higher than foreseen. Close to the call for tenders, the engineer updated his budget and saw it was closer to $800,000. And basically, the lowest bidder, there were two submissions. There was two bids. The lowest bid was 837,000 and a bit with HST. So after we did the analysis with Englobe, we tried to find ways to reduce the cost with the entrepreneur, with the contractor, who was lowest bidder, and had some discussions. And the of the boards, the removal and reinstallation of the boards in terms of the document, engineering plan was supposed to be done by the company, the manufacturer of the boards. But we did an agreement with the lowest bidder where they revised the price where they would do that work themselves. So there's a slight adjustment. Nonetheless, it's a higher amount than what was determined, but still, with the way the market's working, we're going to go forward. And we're seeking the money so that the CAO can fill you in a little better, more on the financial elements. If you'll remember, when it came forward initially, there was 300,000 that was budgeted for this project. Would we carry the motion to go to call for tenders based on the engineer's estimates? We thought it would be 600,000. So we foresaw taking the remainder from the Reserve Capital Fund, General Reserve Fund. So it would basically be a question of taking it from the same spot. As Bob indicated, once we add the engineering fees on the amount that was budgeted, that $300,000, and the other ones, it was $225,000, and the remainder, it's closer to $500,000, and this would come from the Capital Reserve Fund. So I have a few questions. Councillor Peter Bro. I have quite a few things to say about this project. First of all, I think we're starting a project of 300,000, and that's 600,000, and now $745,000. It's nearly $1 million for a multi-sport surface. I had recommended at the time to see to the possibility of putting on a roof on what already exists, because we know that if there's no well, the work didn't work. And I'm not convinced that even if we spend $750,000 for a new surface, that the surface will still be 100%. I think if it's not 100%, we're going to end up by putting a roof up on it anyway. If you see, Your Worship, many municipalities, especially in Quebec, this has been done. There are structures, well, just to give you a sense of it, what it might look like. It's a metal structure. It looks like a bit like Lenny's, what Lenny's restaurant put in. There's no sides. I think that it would cost less, probably. Not only that, I think it'd be more useful to have it covered with a roof. It would be very beneficial for the municipality, not only for the municipality, but for the school, if they want to do a barbecue or anything like that, sports tournaments. I think that we should refuse this proposal and seriously consider the option of putting on a roof on that surface, which would give us so much more at the risk of spending $750,000 without knowing if we'll really get what we are looking for. I'm voting against this motion, Your Worship. And I'd like to get the comments of other council members. Thank you, Councillor Bro. An increase in costs. No members are looking for this, but these are the results. Councillor Janice Cormier. Thank you, Your Worship. Now, does the company that is the lowest bidder, have we checked their references? Do they have have we checked that they have the ability to build this based on the required standards for a multi-sport? Yes, this was checked. This was we've been checking for the past 6 days. These concrete finishers that are included in lowest bid, they're the best. The company that is best recognized for quality in the region. They did the surface for the Avenir Center. They're the best around. So we feel at ease with the quality and the value added and the features that we've added in this design. We think it'll work, but there is a cost that is associated with that. A comment on Councilor Bro. I know where you're coming from, but I think that we've already put in enough money. I think we should protect what we have. I think a roof could be added over the upcoming years. It would be better for our budget, perhaps, but that's you know what, Councilor Paul Boudreau. Yeah, yes. Just a comment to add to this. I was looking the Inglo budget. It was 837,000, and the motion asking for 746. That's $100,000. The difference. Why? The bid of the bid includes HST, net HST, and I agree with Councilor Peter. I'd like the feedback from the staff members and members of the council. I find it really goes beyond that budget that we set aside for $600,000, and for Janice's comment, if we put a roof later, we don't need a roof later. If we don't, if we do a roof now, it will fix what was done improperly. That's why my reasoning goes. Do we have a warranty? If we go forward with a written warranty, I don't know how long it would take to do this work. That there won't have be any water on the surface. The warranty is the same as with the MTM construction. And congratulations on the file you've done in this work you've done in this file, Bob. One thing I would add, Councillor Bob, it's what Englobe said, with the drains for a surface that you want to you leave open to the elements. With drains, it should settle your problem. That was their professional opinion. Between theory and reality, we will see. With a roof, you don't need drains. That's my reasoning with the roof. I understand that as well. Another thing that really hurts is that we're not able to get the compensation from the other contractors. We did work and it's all done, but it does also affects my decision. And I am fully in agreement. If there's a roof on top of it, it gives it another calling for that infrastructure. They can do programming underneath the roof, and a roof also guarantees activities. So if there's a ball hockey in October, if it's raining, you don't even have to remove the water. There's a roof over top of it. I don't know if we can ask the administration. We just tabled the motion. And I want to go forward with this project. I want it to look good. Can we get an estimate to put on a roof? Is it 200,000? Is it 2 million? I have no idea. I don't want to really miss the boat and invest another $800,000 to redo it. It's a lovely infrastructure. Can we find a price quickly enough? And if we wait until the end of August to redo this motion, if the council will decide it in a few minutes. Is it too late, Bob? Is the call for tender still valid? Can the work still be done? It's a complex file, I understand it, in terms of how long the price is guaranteed on the part of the contractor. 30 days. So it starts counting off as of the 26th. The idea of the roof, I just want to clarify, 20th of June. I just want to add a bit of information. Councillor Peter. We did take this into account. You had made comments around the roof. We asked questions. We didn't look for estimates per se because I decided to continue. But we asked a question. We discussed it internally. we think it would cost about $1 million. Once again, it's not something we haven't sought out documents, but if we're mandated to dig deeper, we can do it. But shouldn't go past the 30 days we have. That's as for until the 20th of July. So, look, if the council wants to table this until then, and could have a special meeting on before the 20th of July, it's possible to be in a position to accept the contract as it stands. We mandate the staff to go forward with this, and they did that. So it's possible. I'm just highlighting that for you. They're big amounts. It's not like it was 20,000 or 50,000. It's $900,000, 800,000. If we have to, I'm not sure if the staff can do it, but the costs from the supplier, at least give us an estimate. If the estimate says it's 2 million, $1 million, before the 20th of July, just to see, so they don't miss the boat. It's a lovely facility. I think that a roof over the facility will solve the problem and improve the quality of the facility. That's my point of view. But I'll let the other members of the council speak to this point. Mr. CAO, a few points, first of all. I'd just like to remind all of the council that it's a file that we inherited from the previous administration, so we're doing the best that we can. And we're doing it based on the directives provided by the council. Council mandated to prepare the documents for call for tenders and to do a call for tenders to redo the surface, which is what we did. I understand that the prices are higher than we had foreseen, but there's been money that had been invested in terms of design to seek out a price for a roof without having completed the design. My sense is that the companies might be able to give us a ballpark figure, but again, there's still a risk. We get a ballpark figure, and then we redesign the roof. We go to call for tenders, and it comes in higher than the ballpark figure. There's always risks associated with that. So I want the council to know that if that's the decision that you want, that's fine. But don't expect that we'll be able to get back to you in 2.5 weeks with a full design and estimates that has to be guaranteed by a contractor and engineer. It doesn't happen that quickly. So there's risks. I just want to let you know that there's a risk involved in that decision. As I understand it, it wasn't necessarily a pleasant thing. This whole thing wasn't necessarily pleasant either. But just to manage expectations, we can't come back here in 2.5 weeks with a definitive answer in terms of a cost associated with putting a roof on the existing structure. So there might be a bit of information that we can get, just generally. Many of you are asking to speak. That's fine. For a few, it's the second time you would be speaking. So I'll first let the people who haven't spoke to this point speak. I'm just going to do a second round once. Councilor Roland Cormier. Now, right now, I don't have any motions on the table. I understand that it's a complex file. Yes, the administration inherited this, a project quite a few councilors around the table inherited the same project, myself included. I also had a chance to visit it. It's impressive. I started to do some biking, and I traveled throughout the municipality, and it's really impressive. The project that's there right now, yeah, there was water on it. I think that it's worth, and maybe they'll come back to us and say, no, it's not doable, but I really think it's worth it, worth it. I want to table the resolution so that you come back to us in about a month with more information about the roof. I so move, Your Worship, that we table this resolution. Councilor Roland Cormier recommends tabling this to the next meeting. Yes. Now, there's a nuance here. I don't actually have a motion on the table yet, so I cannot table a motion that is not there. I would take that as a suggestion, Councilor Cormier, and as to what to do. I would I'm making a motion that we table it, and we need somebody to second it. Well, I can only have a motion to table if I have a motion on the table already. As it stands, nobody has moved this. So if nobody moves it, it will not go forward. Okay? Great. Councilor Janes. Inaudible. You can move it. Councilor Germain. Small comment. I understand that it's expensive, and I also have questions. But by putting a roof on it, you're not going to have snow on it for skating. There's a question of having ice in the water in the winter. It's supposed to be a 4-season space. Wow. Well, I don't know. Thank you for your comments. Inaudible. We'll get sponsored. Well, anyway. Deputy Mayor Sylvie Khalid-Poudreau. I'm going to be devil's advocate. I remember, I'm looking for my comment here, sorry. So when it was voted on the March 21, I think it was, I forget the exact date. At that point, the roof was mentioned. The roof, the rain will come in through it anyway. So I don't really see what the roof will bring us. My opinion is that we had those people around the table. They wanted us to go forward. We were stuck in terms of going forward. Let's go forward. We met the administration gives up prices, and then we say, I feel like it's a slap in the face to the administration. They do all this work. We never spoke that we want anything else extra. We said, look, we're mandating you for an ice surface, not for walls. If you want to build walls, we're going to build an arena. My sense of things is that if we vote for this contract, if we go forward with this contract, I'm not in agreement with tabling it, and I don't agree with modifying it. That's my point of view. And it's my frustration for this evening. Thank you. Thank you for what you said. Great. So 2 others, before coming back to the 2 others who already spoke to this point. Well, it's because I was putting next, and it picks who. Councillor Patricia Brooke Chevalier, thank you, Your Worship. It's basically on the same wavelength as the Deputy Mayor. I think that the project started, it was to have a surface, a multi-port surface that was outside, not necessarily with a roof. I think that the committee is headed towards having an outdoor surface. I am ready to support the motion that will soon be read out. It just the administration found funds in capital reserve. I think we should go forward with this project and not have a second meeting. Councilor Milbrin, thank you, Your Worship. A little closer, please. We mandated the administration to look for pricing. Our engineer from the town, Bob, recommends the project as is. I'm against tabling this. It'll slow things down. I don't support tabling for sure. The engineer consulted professionals. it's essential that this project go forward. That's my 2 cents worth. So thank you taking the time to express yourselves. I have Councillor Peter Bro and Councillor Janice Cormier and Councillor Paul Boudreau. I'll be brief. My only comment that I'd like to make here is I think that the people are not aware of the structures that are available. We should be able to get a price, a ballpark figure. It's been done in other municipalities. It's not set up on the installation. It's over it within 30 days. I don't think it puts the project in danger. I think we should do everything to at least get a price and have a special meeting at the end of the month to debate this motion. Thank you, Councillor Peter Bro. Councillor Janice Cormier, thank you, Your Worship. I'm in agreement. We've already put in enough money on this project. I think we should go forward. By redoing this project, we're going against the vision of this committee by adding a roof. It's a nice to have that we'd like to have, but I don't think it's part of the vision and the vision of that committee. And I think that committee, again, this year, they didn't get anything. They were very disappointed. I think we have to go forward so that this fall it's in place, so that that committee and the sponsors and that we can go forward with the project. In a few years, the vision of that committee says a roof, or it could be something we could use. I'm not an engineer, but the rain doesn't fall from the sky straight at all times. There's wind, there's like gusts. And what will it cost us to remove that the snow that will get stuck in there on the roof? There's lots of issues that we don't know for tonight. So for tonight, I'm not ready to table. I'm not willing. I think that we meet the needs of the committee.
Councillor Janice. Councillor Paul Boudreau. You have to put a motion on the table to just very clear. Yes, we have a recommendation for the administration, but yes, if we look at all the pamphlet, everyone's saying like management of, we have a responsibility too, like question like around the table, like when you have a project starting to 300,000, 600,000, 900,000, like we can question about just looking at other options, like to add to this installation. It's not an insult administration. I congratulate them. So we are responsible when we answer the citizen, like when we answer question. It went from 300,000 to 800,000. So that was my comment.
We don't have a motion on the table as of yet.
We don't have the subject asked table to be tabled.
C'est supposed être conseiller Paul Boudreau. Anyway, but
Supposed to be Councillor Paul Boudreau to read the motion.
we've had a discussion without having a motion on the table. So
Okay.
my question would be, how can I table a motion if I have no motion?
Well, I'm going to move the motion, even though I voted against it. I think I might have been the only one who did back when, because I thought we should retain the existing thing and somehow live with it.
Sure.
But given what's transpired and the direction that we provided before, I think I agree that we owe it to staff and the process to move on. Sometimes these
So you're
things
moving
happen.
that motion?
I am moving the motion. I don't know if I have it.
Moving the
before me or
motion.
not.
I'll read it if you like.
Oh, I can do, I got it there now, I think.
Go ahead.
Be it resolved to award the following contract, reconstruction of the multi-sport surface to the lowest bidder, Camille Legier Construction Limited, at a value of $746,687.76, net HST included. The funds to be drawn from the following accounts: 1-28290, Projet Spécial,
Special purpose.
infrastructure support or infrastructure sportive, where there is $225,018.37 remaining of the original $300,000 after engineer fees, and the remainder from the capital reserve fund. So moved.
So moved by Councillor Harry McEnroy, seconded by appuyé de conseillère Germaine Galland.
Councillor Germaine Galland.
Conseiller Roland Cormier?
Monsieur le maire, comme j'ai dit tantôt,
Mr. Mayor, as I said, I move that we table the motion, the resolution. I have a motion to table the resolution, seconded by Councillor Peterborough. To table the resolution, since there were many comments, like in going in different direction, just to facilitate, I would ask to vote by raising your hand. All those in favor, raise. To table the motion, raise your hand. 4, 5, 6. Yeah. All those against, table. And the yeah. So in my opinion, I don't like a cost increase, I mean. But I will vote to table in order to bring this information before the deadline of July 20th. So most of the members, they're able at least to get some more information before they can vote.
Sure. I'm going to vote to table the motion.
Je vais voter.
Another meeting before the expiry date of the contract or the bid, I should say. So before July 20th, we will be having a special meeting, but at least it will provide staff the opportunity to bring forward some additional information, which I believe will help other members of council make a final decision, either to go ahead or either to reject the contract itself. So to me, it's an interim measure. That's me being Solomon for today. Donc, pour 15.8.
So 15.8, hiring of an engineer consultant for Bow Bridge 2024 project. Councillor Janice Brunet. Be it resolved to award the engineering work for the Bow Bridge extension phase 1 at a value of $224.86 net HST included. These projects include the extension of Bow Bridge Street to Bellevue Heights Street and the reconstruction of Bellevue High Street from that point to Main Street. The Greater Shediac Sewage Commission, GSSC, will be responsible to reimburse the town for 5% of this fee. The design phase service with a value of $123,406.72 net HST included will be drawn from the General Capital Reserve Fund. The remaining amount will be drawn from the project construction funding for fund. I shall move by Councillor Janice Cormier, seconded by Deputy Mayor Nicolette Boudreau. Question on the motion. Councillor Paul Boudreau. Why are we stopping to Bellevue? So is to extend like Bow Bridge until Ohio. So why would the engineer work to make the plans also to eventually to go maybe at the end? It's two phase. Mr. McEwen. So this phase was proposed for 2024. The next phase also will be in 2025. It's a bigger scope for a project. It was a little part of all the Bellevue Street from Bow Bridge Street to Main Street. It's a small part of Bow Bridge Street, and then Bellevue from Bow Bridge to Main Street. Yeah, he's repeating himself. So all those in favor saying aye. Against nay. Carried. 15.9, incentive for townhouses. Councillor Bertin. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that the town of Shediac issue a check for a residential development incentive in the amount of 37,000 plus HST to ACBE Capital Inc. I shall move, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Jean-Claude Bertin, seconded by Councillor Janice Cormier. Questions on the motion? It's a development. That's the incentive policy, like similar, that the one we had previously, the previous meetings. All those in favor saying aye. Against nay, carried. 15.8 linguistic landscape. Canaan Restaurant. He's not sure of the pronunciation. Councillor Germain Gala. Thank you, Mr. Be it resolved that the town of Shediac provide reimbursement to the following merchant and that the fund used for said reimbursement be taken from the language landscape budget account 1-26425. Canaan Restaurant Inc., $1,550.70 plus HST. I shall move, Mr. Mayor. Moved by Councillor Germain Gallant, seconded by Councillor Jean-Claude Bertin. All those in favor saying aye. Against nay. Carried. We have nothing at 16 appointments to committee. I need a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Germain Gallant to adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much.